Don't just live for tomorrow, or just live in yesterday. Just be glad for all you have that's in today.
Hey everyone, Connie here, and yes, it's happened again. Episodes of MLP have been leaked early. Now, this coming Saturday, from when I'm recording this on Tuesday the 21st. This coming Saturday the 25th is episode 18 of the series, and that leaked weeks ago. And I've already had that recorded and ready to put up. What I'm reacting to now, today, as of this recording, is episode 19, and I'll be doing episode 20 as well, because both 19 and 20 have been leaked, I guess released early in Australia again or something. All I know is that they're out early, and to avoid spoilers, I'm going to react to them now. But they won't be up until their regular date, so you won't be seeing this video until the 1st of September, when episode 19 is set to air. And episode 20 won't be until September 8th. So it's like I'm recording these really early, but I kind of have to, again, to just kind of avoid spoilers. Which really sucks. It sucks that I have to do this, but there's really no choice. So I know nothing about this episode, or just pre-saying I know nothing about 20 either. I don't know the title, I don't know who it's about, I don't know what it's about, I know nothing. I don't even know the writers. And that's why I'm recording these early, because I want to keep it that way. So once again, you are seeing this on Saturday, September 1st. I am recording this over a week earlier, on Tuesday the 21st. So just keep in mind, by the time you are actually watching this, I might have seen the episode a couple more times, and my opinions might change a little bit. And I'll remind you of that again in my afterthoughts, but just wanted to let you know because there is over a week between. But that being said, we're just going to get on with this. So when the screen fades to black, pause this redirect and go to the description below. Follow the link to the reaction, and after you watch it, come back here to the redirect and resume play. Because after it fades to black and then fades back in, everything from that point forward will be my afterthoughts and will contain spoilers to the episode. So that being said, thank you so much for tuning in, and I will see you at the reaction. And we are back, and we'll begin with spoilers in 3, 2, 1, now. Okay, so a couple episodes back, episode 17, focused on Rarity and Rainbow Dash, and it focused on them having this big fight, this big complication with their friendship once they start to get annoyed by what each other want to do during their day of friendship, basically. And I talked about how I didn't like that episode and how it was extremely contrived and poorly written, how the entire plot felt like it was extremely forced, and like it would have fit better in the first or second season. Because it just feels like 8 seasons in, that kind of story is way out of place. Not to mention, it just wasn't well done. It was not well handled. Then we come to this episode, episode 19, and it's night and day. This episode is how you do that kind of story right. You want to have two good friends have a big argument that causes them to split apart, and then in the end eventually come back together. This is how you do it. You don't make it feel out of place. You make it feel natural. See, in the other episode, the big argument between Rainbow Dash and Rarity was because they didn't have a lot in common and were getting annoyed by each other. This is something, again, that would work better when they were newer friends, when things were still fresh for that. They've been friends for so long now, it doesn't work because that kind of issue just does not make sense at that point in their friendship. Especially since they would have known about all of these issues and tackled them much, much earlier into their friendship. Much, much earlier. It does not work at that point. Trixie and Starlight, on the other hand, are still fairly new friends. They've been friends for a little bit now, but in comparison, they're still fairly new to it. And on top of that, their argument in this wasn't surrounding some misunderstandings they had regarding their friendship. The argument stemmed from an otherwise outside stimuli. We had the road trip to blame here. It wasn't because, they didn't fully realize their differences or whatnot. No. It was because this road trip was hard on them. It was tiring. It was harsh. They didn't prepare for it properly. Trixie's wagon was way too cramped. Starlight has a snoring problem. And all of this worked together. They started getting very tired, very angry with each other. Not because of anything that the others did at first, but because of just the conditions and situations they were in. Eventually, it started to get a little more out of hand because their being tired and being already upset escalated things to the point where they started doing things to basically spite each other. Such as Starlight eating the last of the hay cakes and Trixie, in response, drinking the last of the juice. And eventually, Starlight tried to make it better. She tried to make it better by trading the wagon to this hay far guy. And it's a nice idea, but again, the wagon holds a sentimental place in Trixie's heart. Yes, it's cramped. Yes, it has its problems, but she values it. And so trading it away was extremely irresponsible of Starlight. And it's perfectly within Starlight's character to do so, to do something like that. She was doing it just because she was trying to help, though. The only problem is she didn't ask. She traded away someone else's property without their permission. As such, it caused even more problems and caused them to split apart. Which is reasonable. Because again, the outside stimuli are what fueled their tiredness and upset attitudes in the first place. It wasn't anything each other did. That stuff came later as a result of being tired and upset. So it was handled a lot better here than in episode 17. Because here it felt more natural, and it felt like it was properly planned. Like, it felt properly written, unlike before. And it feels like it's a good time for it, too. Because the fact that they're going on this road trip only can happen as such good friends. And the fight can only happen by going on the road trip. It all connects together in a very natural way, is what I'm saying. The characterizations of both Trixie and Starlight in this episode were fantastic. They were both fully in character, and also showed a lot of their growth as well. Starlight doing her best to try and make the best of the situation despite the obvious issues shows that she's grown from just trying to magic everything right. Because in the past, especially right after her reformation, her first instinct would have been to just use magic to expand the wagon or something, or to use some kind of spell that would make like the inside of the wagon bigger than the outside, kind of like TARDIS technology or something. That would probably have been her first instinct there. But she's grown to a point where she's instead just trying to make it work. She's just trying to accept where things are at and go with it. Eventually, she does make a bad mistake again. She does tend to act out of emotion rather than proper thought, as she has in the past. But again, this is because at the time she made that deal, she was extremely tired and legitimately upset at the situation and everything that had been going down. So she wasn't thinking properly there. She didn't have the cognitive ability to. Trixie's growth here is shown through her willingness to be a friend, her willingness to just desire that friendship. Trixie was a kind of this lone wolf character at the beginning. She kind of viewed herself as above everybody else, this grand, great, and powerful magician. And yes, even though I complain about Ghostbusters vilifying Trixie when she wasn't the villain, the main six were, she was still very arrogant, more so than even just for a simple stage magician. I acknowledge that. She was very arrogant at first, but she grows as the series goes on. And this episode really shows that. She could have very easily accepted the Saddle Arabian tour idea right off the bat. Instead, she actually denied it at first and had to be convinced of it. And then her first instinct after accepting it was to go and see if Starlight, her best friend, wanted to come along. And that's fantastic growth for her. Because her first instinct about this new tour, about going to see fans she might have in Saddle Arabia, her first instinct is to ask someone else if they want to join her. The old Trixie wouldn't have done that. No. The old Trixie would have just bolted right on towards Saddle Arabia without a second thought. So this episode shows great growth for them. This Hey Far guy was okay. I didn't really love him or anything, but I didn't hate him either. He wasn't a bad guy. It almost seemed like they were going to try to make him out to be a bad guy when he was refusing to trade the wagon back. But he really wasn't. His offer to trade the wagon came from the beginning, and he was doing it because he didn't need that big of a wagon. He was offering to help someone that he honestly looked up to in a way. He really valued Trixie's show and wanted to help her out. That's why he made the offer in the first place. And when Starlight traded it, he accepted it because I still believe he accepted it to help Trixie out. And Starlight too, of course. I mean, her being Trixie's assistant. When he refused to trade it back, he was, I feel like, doing so because he felt like he made the right decision for them. And that he was still trying to help. And that he didn't want to put them back in a situation where, I mean, he had seen that they were fighting and stuff, so he didn't want to put them back in that position. And in the end, he basically said, oh, I'll trade it back if you two show that you're willing to be good friends, if you two can prove to me that you're good friends. See, he didn't want to trade it back because he didn't want them to go and have more of that fighting. So he only offered to be willing to trade it back after they would prove that they would be good friends. In the end, he was not that bad of a guy. Yes, he went about it in a little bit of a shifty way, but he was a pretty cool guy. There's a lot of great comedy, of course. There's some meta humor surrounding the song and how they were joking about, if Twilight and her friends were on this journey now, they'd probably be singing, and then right away they'd get into a song. The song itself was fun. It wasn't the best song of the series or anything, but I really did enjoy it. And overall, I just think this was one of the best episodes of this season. Solid writing, very great humor, great characterization, and proof of the development of these two amazing characters. And it was just overall extremely entertaining. I know I'm reacting to this almost 2 weeks early. But you obviously are seeing this on the 1st. So by this point, I will have seen it again. But I really can't wait to see other reactors watch this one. We've had some less than stellar episodes lately with 17, and I believe 18 I wasn't a huge fan of either. It's been actually, again, a couple weeks since I actually reacted to that, because that was released well ahead of time. That was actually released before the hiatus ended, funny enough. Either way, you get the point here. I believe I wasn't a huge fan of 18 either, and so it's like, we're finally getting back to a really freaking good episode with this one. But yeah, it's not just about me, so I want to hear your thoughts on this episode. Tell me in the comments below what you thought of Trixie and Starlight's awesome adventure. I know that's not the actual title, but it's a fun alternative title. Tell me what you thought of their little friendship journey, how the fight felt very natural, and how the characters just felt really well handled. And just, even if you think the opposite of that, let me know. I'd love to hear your thoughts either way. In the meantime, thank you so much for tuning in, and for now, I'm Connie, and I'm signing off. See y'all next time.
And though you've come through many obstacles, shed tears along the way, you're still standing, live, love, laugh.